Okay, we're gonna try this. Of course, everything surrounding this is always crazy whenever I want to do a live thing. So let me just double check that we're actually live. And yeah, see if everything works. Okay. So hey guys, it's been a really crazy day. And I've been wanting to do this for a while, this video, and stuff has been coming up to hopefully push me away from doing it, right? Okay, so today was no exception, but I'm here. We're finally doing it, and so I'm really excited about this. In fact, there was one point where I was frantically running around the house looking for a specific item that I wanted to show you guys, and I couldn't find it. And I postponed the live feed, and I got an order on our website from. This is how my life works. So I got an order from we are waiting or something like that. So yeah, everybody knows this is happening, and finally it's time. So welcome, and please feel free to discuss, because this is something that's not talked about, and I'm going to talk about it. I have a lot of things to show you guys, and I have stories behind things, and hopefully this will give you a better idea of the differences, not just in when we talk about Earth things like normal Earth history stuff, relics and stuff, but the difference in galactic relics or magical relics, or what separates them, and just all kinds of stuff. So I pulled a card. I have notes again, as usual. I pulled a card, and this is the card that I pulled. It's pronounced Etsnib, and it's the usage in the Mayan language is like for knife or flint. The qualities are timelessness, which totally falls into this. Discrimination also follows into this. Clarity, Hall of Mirrors, spiritual worship, Sword of Truth definitely comes through this. That is actually going to be an etheric relic, and I'm going to read this, and you guys are going to all be offered the Sword of Truth if you so want to use it. So, Facing Shadows, integration of paradoxes, and the symbol is a mirror sword. The number is 18, which is 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it's 306, which is a 9. Colors are silver, that's why this is silver. Herbs to help with this are sage, pomegranate, benzoin. If you're not familiar with what benzoin is, this is like a historical apothecary thing, but benzoin is a resin. It's super ancient. Not only does it have like a lovely vanilla scent, you can get it powdered these days, or you can get it in like an oil form, but it's really, really sticky. And it's used for perfumes, but it's also historically been used for prolonging the shelf life, or for preserving, which I find very interesting, because these relics, this is all about preserving, right? So it makes sense that benzoin would be in there. And if you're not familiar with it, look it up. I love the smell of it, and you could try it out for yourself too. So flowers are orchid, Dusty Miller. I'm not sure what a Dusty Miller is. Flower essences are violet water, which is all about self-forgiveness. And once you start working with artifacts and relics and props and whatnot, you guys will understand how it works to fulfill you, to clear things out, and to help get your energy centers going, and allows you self-forgiveness, because you're being aware of all the different timelines, all the different lives of things that you've been connecting to. And so it really promotes this working on yourself. Okay, So I'm going to just read this. I like to start off these live videos with just reading about the card. The card fell on the floor already, so. But it says, truth, call my name. I stand naked before you, stripped of illusion. So when we think of artifacts and relics, while some newer ideas of what they can be an illusion, the original items are as stripped of illusion as you get. Because if you know how to access the energy within these items, you're pretty much standing, the artifact and you are both standing naked together, and there is no illusion of what is. It just is. And you can access it however you wish to see whatever you want, but it's the truth of what is. It's not trying to hide anything. It's not trying to cover anything up. And that's pretty powerful when you think of it. So Etsnab, it offers you a special opportunity to journey into the Hall of Mirrors, to address the parts of yourself that you may have been avoiding or not being seen clearly. See the unclear, the unacknowledged, the illusion of problems. This is your chance to see the truth, to complete the unfinished lesson. And again, this is going to help you. What I'm talking about here is going to help you guys work on completing things that maybe weren't done in the past, bringing pieces of you back from the past that need to help complete you so you can keep going and work on yourself and be a better you. So it says, look into the mirror that reveals the unconscious and see the shadowy parts of yourself that show you what stands between yourself and the light. You are being offered a gift, the gift of insight. Hey guys, I'm so glad you joined. Receiving Etsnab is an affirmation of your courage in facing the unclear parts of self. What apparent problems, weaknesses, or perceived laws that you are experiencing that you might address directly to find the gift? Use the world and the other people as mirrors for your discovery and process. All right, so this is exactly what I'm talking about. All of this stuff, you guys can't see it here, but all of this pile of stuff that I have here is for you guys to use as mirrors. And you can do this on your own too. I highly recommend, after we are done discussing this, you might want to start new collections of things. So use them to step into different experiences, step into your own perception, step into healing yourself. So if you're holding a strong position, convinced that only you are right, free yourself to experience the power held in changing positions. And sometimes all you need is an artifact, or all you need is a relic in order to see a different side of things. We'll get to that too. So experiment with letting go or taking another's point of view. Step into the other side of the mirror. Etsnab guides you to the fluid position between the extremes of seeming polarities. To experience this position, mentally creates a triangle of light by connecting yourself with the two polarities. Then imagine yourself in the center of the triangle. Place the place of integration of the conflict or paradox, the place of fluidity. If you have a concern or question, take time to fully receive the guidance held in the fluid center. There are no absolutes. The crack between our world is widening. You live in a time and a space framework that is expanding so that the separation can be healed, the heaven and earth become one. Judgment and acceptance are opposite sides of the same mirror. So walk through the reflections of the greater reality. Here's the thing, we're giving you, this card is giving you something called an etheric relic, okay? Use the sword of discernment, this is an etheric relic, use the sword of discernment to cut away judgment and self, to cut away judgment of self and others. Judgment is primarily a tool of separation. When someone acts outside your perceived vision of reality, you feel justified in putting them in a separate category from yourself. You offer no permission for their behavior or choices. Understand that judgment only occurs when something threatens the security or status of the ego's position. Judgment is a means by which the ego maintains control by defining and limiting the areas which must be avoided to support the time-honored perception of reality. The ego basically says, I am not that, to define what it is, and thus to feel safe in what the limited definition of uncontrollable allowance of the servant of love, as judgment, as a tool of separation. Self-acceptance has the power to release and forgive all things that keep you from the clear reflection of that which you truly are. Yes, exactly. As above, so below. So the one thing that we're going to quickly discuss about anytime you're dealing with relics, artifacts, anything historically, whether it's Earth historical, galactic historical, is that once you connect to those energies, you get to see it for what it is. And I believe everybody has this ability to do so. So a really great example of this is the idea of what the masculine ideal is today in our now versus, let's say, the masculine ideal in Egypt at that time, right? It's very, very different. But when we study history, it's easy for us to put our ideology of what is in the now back then. And that really limits us because that takes away a big chunk of the truth of what was. Okay, so I hope you guys understood that. And the example that I'm going to use for this is in my recent discussions with Ramses. We were talking about the difference between the males today versus the males in his time. And there's a big difference in what was considered masculine, okay? But when people study ancient Egypt, they like to put what our ideology of a male is back on that time. And it's the wrong thing to do. And we're faced with this all the time. Like, as I am a historian, like that's my actual job title. I see this happen a lot. And so this is something we have to be aware of. But by using these artifacts and relics and such, you can use them to connect into what the absolute truth is. And in doing that, you can maybe have a change of opinion, a change of mind. You can see things from different angles. So, okay, and the cat is also really needy today. So, all right, so the end of this says, be willing to look at the mirrors provided by other people to see how you contribute to and maintain the illusion within your life. If you have a strong reaction to someone or something, look with awareness at your judgments, resentments, and changed reactions. See the gifts in this magical mirror. Be willing to use it to truly see, truly forgive, and truly transform. So this is why, again, I'm going to say it again, museums are so important. This is why artifacts, historical pieces of history are so important. We haven't even gotten to like the relics yet, but it's because it allows you this magical mirror, and people who work with energy and learn to hold something in their hand and just to feel what that energy is doing. How does it make you feel? Or do you feel connected to it? Is it like a homey feeling? Is it something that really puts you off, sickens you? I have that if I have to touch anything that is related to some of the wars and things, I just get sick. In fact, there was one time where I had to watch a video over and over and over because I was a substitute teacher, and I got so sick watching that video that I had to leave the classroom, and I never went back to teaching. I never went back to substitute teaching after that. It was that profound for me. But it wasn't something that I could just toss out. Like, it was painful, it was emotional, but I had to delve into that to figure out why it was what it was, right? Why I was experiencing that. So, okay. So I'm going to just put the card in here quick. I'm going to pick it up just so in case we want to come back to it. Oh. All right. So I don't know if you guys are like into antiques or history or any of that stuff. But I am. My business is centered around this. The history, and once we talk about this, you guys will have a better understanding of like what we do in the business as well. Because for me, artifacts and relics and all these things are super important because I use them to do my work, not just my like everyday, you know, apothecary work, but I use them to do my energy work as well. And that is one of the ways in which I can ride timelines and jump back into time with my energy. So, all right. So there's different types of items, and we're going to discuss each and every one, and I'm going to show you guys that. And feel free to ask questions, okay? Because it's something that isn't something that's really talked about, but I want to give you guys a clear idea of it because I think once you know, it's going to make complete sense, and you're going to have thank you. You're going to have a totally different eye-opening experience with these after you guys understand this. So there's a few different things, right? There are props. Okay, so what is a prop? Let me just list these off first. So there's props, artifacts, reproductions, earth relics, magical artifacts, galactic earth relics, and then there's etheric relics. And there may be more, but these are the ones that I have personal experience with. So what is a prop? A prop is a portable object which is not real, right? It doesn't come from history. It's mass produced. It may have an image of something on that you can relate to. It may be, this is what I was trying to find. I was trying to find, hey, Sacred Geometry. I was trying to find this. I have this Egyptian, this like fake costumey Egyptian crown thing that I used for a 1920s Halloween outfit one year. And for the life of me, I could not find it. But that is an example of a prop. And here's another example of a prop. Okay. So this is an example of a prop. This is something that came from a museum store, I think. And you can see like where the price tag was on it. And it's got a general concept in mind, okay? It's obviously, if anybody knows anything about Egypt, right, like scarabs, it's a big deal. So it's not necessarily made, it's not made to mimic something exactly. It's made to get the general feel. The materials that it's made out of, it's not real. It's not, it's not made the same way that it would have been made historically. Okay, so these are the things that you buy in Toscano. So here's another one. Here's another prop. Okay, or also like lookalike items is what I call them. So these are things that you buy in museum stores or museum gift shops. You buy in Toscano. This is actually a really bad representation of what they're trying to show, but it's got the general idea, right? So, and a lot of times with these mass-produced items, this means nothing, okay? So like what they're writing on here, it means nothing. It's made to look good. It's made to make people feel like they're getting something, you know, that could maybe look like a artifact or something, but it's not. It's just not. And there's nothing wrong with this. These are what most people have in their homes. They serve a purpose, right? If it's an interest to you. Now, if it's an interest to you, it helps you feel connected. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, behind you, let me show you guys this. Because just so you guys are aware, like we have everything here. We don't just have like artifacts and relics. Like someone got me this as a gift once. And I don't know if you guys can see it or not, right? Okay. But this would be another example of a prop. So he was hanging up for quite a while. We don't have him hanging up anymore, but he looks pretty cool, right? He looks pretty cool. He has the general energy of what your imagination or what your soul memory, let me set him down, what your soul memory thinks of when you think of Egypt, right? You think of the King Tut mask. So what does a prop do? Is a prop useful for you? Okay. And the answer is yes. Props can do a lot for you. They can be useful for you. You don't have to have artifacts. Now, is it going to be a direct link? It will probably not be as direct as having an actual artifact from the time, or as direct as having a reproduced artifact, which we'll talk about in a second, from that time. And the reason is because when people are making it, they're mass producing it. You're at this point, you're actually using your soul memory to connect to pieces like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if you get props and you get them because they resonate with you, just sit with them, hold them, and allow your cell memory to remember for you. Because visualizing is so important. Like if you have something, I think this is actually a bad example because this isn't really like, well, would be something to talk about too. So where this is a better example of a prop than this is, simply because this is more likely to have been taken from something versus this. This was entirely made up by a sculptor who didn't do a very good job. Like it looks pretty, but as far as like historical relevance, historical accuracy goes, even in the carving, it's not very accurate. So, you know, this is probably going to have an easier time connecting with your cell memories than something like this, but it's all within the person, right? So you don't even have to remember these lives, but if it's something you enjoy and you pick up something at TJ Maxx or pick up something on eBay, that's cool. That's fine. Sit there, use it, put it in your room and say, hey, I want my cell memory to connect to you. Can you show me something? Okay. And so that's a really great way to get started. Now, what do props do? They help you feel connected and validated to things, to past experiences, to ideas, to different realms, you know, like fairies and whatever. It helps you connect. It helps you feel connected. This is a great start for looking into past lives, looking into other realms, other experiences you've had. This helps you feel your energy using your abilities. You're not really relying on the energy coming from the prop. You're actually relying on your own intuition and your own cell memory to recognize the shape, the feel, the look of it while you hold it in your hands or stare at it, and that's what triggers the memories. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So this is great. These are great for working on past lives. This helps you realize when you hold these that there's no separation. There's no separation, because if your cell memory can say, oh, I like this, I want to put this on my shelf, it reminds me of something. Oh, really? You have a lot to say? I don't know if you guys heard that. Kira is giving her 2 cents worth. This then becomes a direct link to your energy and to your cell memory to help you start tapping into things. It will help you expand your energy and your gifts as well. Okay. So by all means, yes, props are great. If you want to check out somebody who uses a lot of props and she teaches about this, definitely check out Cleocatra. I love it. Definitely check out Wendy Wolf. She has Languages of Lights. She did this thing called Goddess Fridays for a while, where they would dress up in costumes and use props, and they would talk to you guys about how getting into those energies can really help you solidify and remember who you are. And I think that's really important. So other than having fun dressing up for Halloween, I think there's some legitimacy to this where when I was little, I always dressed up as things from history, things that I always felt connected to, whether it was Robin Hood or like some Egyptian something or other. I always did that. And I didn't know why I was doing that. I just did it because it made me feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so in some way, I love it when people dress up, because a lot of times they don't realize that they're actually connecting to a part of themselves that is either hidden at this point, or that is trying to come out to help them solve some past life issues, but they don't really understand it. All they know is that they feel really good when they dress up. So check out Wendy's channel. She's got a lot of that stuff on it, and it'll be very helpful. Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about is a reproduction. Let me just mark off stuff. So yes, let's talk about a reproduction. Okay, so this is what we do in my business, in my historical apothecary. I think I need more light from here. We reproduce historical apothecary and cosmetics throughout history. And Alicia says, Shira and Wonder Woman and Catwoman are the 3 I remember from being Halloween. Okay, so think about it, right? All of those women were powerful women. All of those women were looked up to, and in a sense, they were kind of like goddesses / like priestesses in a way, right? So like, boom, there you go. There's your link. Okay, so reproductions. So this is what we do. We take original recipes and we reproduce them. And so what does that actually entail? Well, anytime you're reproducing something, let me see what let's see, Anubis. Okay. So this is a really great example of a reproduction here. This is Anubis, and this is a direct copy of an artifact, and it was made in the same way, in the same location as the original artifact. Okay, so that's why it's a reproduction. Now, you can get really picky about it, and like there's levels of reproduction, right? Pieces, but the main thing is that it was made in the same manner with the same materials as the original. And so this would have more original energy than a prop, okay? So if you really are into something and you really want to experience the energy, that's when you pick up something in Egypt that was made in the same manner. And so Anubis and I are actually really good friends. He actually, if you can tell from my last video, I wasn't looking so hot. I wasn't feeling so great. But he actually came and helped me to get kind of back in the game. And so I feel a lot better, and I probably actually look like I'm not a walking dead person. But anyway, yeah, so this has a lot of powerful energy, and Alicia says that she can feel it. So I'm really glad to hear that. What I love about him is that if you look really closely at his hair in the back, you can see like how it's all carved, and it just, I don't know, it just fascinates me. Like I really love him. I love this piece. There's a lot of different types of Anubises that you can get, but a reproduction is an exact copy made of something where it was made in the same location as the original, using the same techniques and the same materials. Okay, so let's see. Then let's go to what a artifact is. All right. So an artifact is, okay, these are artifacts right here. We have lots of artifacts. That's probably what we have the most of in this household is artifacts. So this is an artifact. This is a object that was made by human beings on the planet that is of cultural or historical interest. Okay, so this toothbrush, this original toothbrush, this is a early toothbrush from the 1800s, right, late 1800s. This right here is an artifact. And this is part of what fascinates me and when I do my work, like why I use these things to connect in with people, because when you allow the energy to talk to you of an artifact or a piece of history, you can get glimpses of what life was really like. You can feel it. Like, even though it's just a toothbrush, like my fingertips are tingling because it was an actual toothbrush made for use. Obviously, this one wasn't used or not used very often. But if you allow yourself to ride those energies, close your eyes and say, hey, can you just show me a bit of what life was like back then? Eventually, you will train yourself to be able to do this. And holding an artifact will give you pictures and movies to play. Okay, so this is an artifact. This is an artifact right here. This is a Shapti, Egyptian Shapti. And what they were is they were clay figurines that were put into the tombs with the people who died, and they had like magical spells on them. So while this could be used as a magical earth artifact too, I'm not going to use it as that. Simply because the other magic I'm going to talk about is a little different. So the belief system was that if you would put your helpers into the tomb with you, you could recite a magical incantation when you needed them, and they would just pop up into life. So you would have all of your servants and all of your peoples that you needed there. So this one is from 664 to 525 BC. That is an artifact. Oh, the one main artifact I was going to show you guys is a cuneiform Sumerian tablet that I have that is a real one. And I didn't bring it upstairs. So, well, maybe I'll talk about that one later. Maybe, because there's a lot to talk about with that. So this is an artifact as well. This is what is considered a kopeck. And oh, I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, I put in this little thing because it is very difficult to see. See that little thing right there? This is money. This was Russia's first money in 1703. And it was worth 1 cent, which is like kind of crazy. But if you don't put it in something, you can definitely lose it. So for right now, I have it in this little piece of paper with Peter the Great's photo on it. So this is another artifact. Here is an Egyptian bowl that is made out of stone. And this is another artifact that we have. Here is, and all of these tell a story, because think about it, like, what was this bowl used for? You know, if you lived back then, what would you use this bowl for? So things like that, it really gets you thinking. So this is a 19th century African headrest. And they had these in Egyptian times as well, where you would put a pillow and you would put it behind your neck. And it's actually really, really comfy. I've used it a lot. So, okay. So obviously, energy-wise, if you're looking for the most clear, powerful energy from things, you want to try to get an actual artifact. And these are still really important because they tell the history of our planet, right? And some of these artifacts are actually locked up in museums because they tell the story so well that people don't want us knowing exactly the real history. So I think it's very, very important to have these artifacts. All right, so now let's go into like the magic portion of this. All right. All right, so let's first talk about an earth relic, which is like not quite magic, but in the way the earth idea of it is, it does have some kind of magic related to it. Now, I don't have an earth relic. The closest thing I have to an earth relic is holy water from a vampire killing kit, but I didn't take that out of the case. So I don't really think that can be considered a relic. A real earth relic is an object surviving from an earlier time that has sentimental or historical importance. So that is why if you look up religious artifacts, a lot of these artifacts are religious. You have fingers of saints, you have pieces of hair, and like these are important for the history of Earth and the people who did important things. And so that's why they're considered relics. And they purport, a lot of them purport that they do have magical abilities. Like you have to look this up, but there's been a few times where like the magic finger of Saint so-and-so does a specific thing every year or something. It's really silly. Or like the statue bleeds, right? Okay, so like those are all relics. Those are all earth relics. Now, let's talk about a galactic relic, okay? So a galactic earth relic is something that is brand new. People throughout history have forgotten what it is, or it's only been taught in like the magical schools. It's an object that's made with a high magic status that was used in a historical record and has to be protected in order for it not to fall into the wrong hands. Okay, so when I think of galactic relics, I'm sure you guys can think of some, like the Ark of the Covenant. People here on Earth would probably claim, well, that's an earthly relic. Well, it's really not, because even though it was forged here on Earth, right? It was actually forged with magic, and it is something that is protected because it has so much magic in it. So it's considered a galactic relic. If it would fall into the wrong hands, it could seriously destroy a lot of things. So another one, let's talk about Moses' staff, okay? Moses' staff is a galactic relic. And it's a galactic relic because it was a staff that was imbued with so much magic that it could do things, right? I mean, if you guys are familiar with the story, although I was told in my conversations that the way the Bible describes it is not exactly the way it happened. Like the sea that was parted was not really a sea at that time. It was just like a teeny tiny river type of thing. So again, you have to kind of take things with a grain of salt, but nonetheless, the staff itself did have magical properties. So who has, oh, I have one. I have a galactic relic. So, okay, so this is, I have two things here, and this is actually really good. It's not like you can just go to an antique store or I mean, some people can, and I'm able to like judge the energy and like the amount of magic in such things, which is one of the reasons that, you know, I'm able to like find these things. And some of the people on Earth are the keepers of some of this stuff. It just naturally flows to them because they've either used it in the past, the relic belongs to them in the past, or they're in charge of keeping it safe. They're in charge of knowing when to use it. So I have two examples here. Okay, so here's my two examples. One of them is a relic, and the other one is not. So I don't know. Let me know which one you guys think is. Is it the one with the person on it, or is it the one with the, let's see, which one's the person? Is it this one with the person on it, or is it the one that looks like the little spoon? So let me know which one you guys think is the relic. And the funny thing is, if you this will show you guys how well you can read energy. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple seconds here, and I can definitely feel it. Like, I've never actually done this before, so I'm kind of glad I'm doing this. And I'll tell you about the story. So what's the first one? Is the first one the one with the person on it, or is the first one the one with the little spoon? The little spoon. I don't know what the first one is. Okay, so, all right. So the one that is the relic is the one with the spoon on it, which is this one right here. Okay, so and you can go back like later on, and you can just kind of like stare at it and see what you get from it. Okay, so. And it's very interesting that I'll be curious to see what people get, because we've had problems with this relic. And so it now is under like super duper protection, where when I received it, I had actually asked, like, I was just joking, right? Because I didn't know what I was talking about at the time. I wanted Ramses to send me something. I wanted him to send me like a ring. I said, send me a ring, like whatever. I just like prove to me that I'm not crazy. Okay. So the next thing, I was like searching online auctions, which I peruse online auctions all the time. So don't think that cool things cannot be purchased unless you're like at a Sotheby's or something. That's not how it goes. Because a lot of these magical things, they look like they would be common items. And if you can't read energy, and if you can't read magical energy, nobody knows. Nobody knows about this stuff. So don't think that it has to be just in big auction houses. So anyway, I found this ring, and I was like, wow, I want this ring. So I won this ring, and then I received the ring, and I was like, whoa, I can't even put this ring on my finger. Because it's making my whole finger tingle so much, like it actually burns, and I couldn't wear it. I just couldn't wear it. There was so much energy there, I couldn't wear it. So then I was doing some paperwork. I started wearing it little by little, not like everyday stuff, just to try and get my body used to the energy of it. Okay. I started wearing it little by little, and then I was joking around one day, and I was doing paperwork. And I was like, look at me, ha, ha, ha. Like, I have this ring on, and it's going to help me do my paperwork faster. And although I think it really did help me do my paperwork faster, Ramses chimed in and was like, that is not what the ring is for. It's a very special ring, and you have to be careful. So then I started talking with the Council of Wonders, okay? And these are the people, this is the Galactic group that handles all of this. So if you're interested in this, and you can do automatic writing, or you do channeling, or you have conversations, ask to talk to them and see what happens, okay? And I had a couple things I wanted to show them, and they were actually really surprised that I had this. And when I questioned them about it, because I didn't know what it was, I really didn't know what it was, they said, well, the thing was, it had gone offline, which means that everything, if you've ever seen like Warehouse 13, I think it's 13, they have all these artifacts, right? And they're all like locked up and whatever, very Indiana Jones. Oh, Council of Wonders, Wonders. Council of Elders is something else. We can talk about that sometime too. But each relic has a signature to it, right? So all the relics are like what they consider online. You know, we consider this as online, but they have all of them that like their signature comes in. So they know that they're still functioning. They know where they are. They're all like GPS. I mean, it's kind of weird for me to be like, oh, like it's all GPS organized, but like they know the ones, they know where they are, and they have people. The Council of Wonders have people on Earth that are constantly sorting through stuff to find these things, junk, antique stores, auctions, big auctions, small auctions. They sort through this stuff to try to find the magical stuff, the relic stuff, so it can be kept safe. It's not for everybody, but it's something that as we learn about it more, it will become common knowledge. And so they said that relic had gone offline, and there's only so many. So like there's like, I don't know, 200 relics. I'm just kind of pulling a random number, but there's a finite number of like Earth relics, right? They were things that were used on Earth at one time, and they were big things like Ark of the Covenant, Moses' staff, I keep Triton, the Triton. I'm not sure why that's coming in my head, but and they know where they are. Okay, so like if something goes offline, it's assumed that it's broken. Once a relic breaks, and like you totally could, you could break the staff. Like if you had the Moses staff, it could be broken, right? So once this stuff breaks, it goes offline, and the magic is gone. It ceases to exist, and that's for specific reasons, obviously safety reasons. But so when I got this ring, it had gone offline, and so I found that very interesting because at the time, I'm trying to think when this happened. So I got the ring. I was using it to do automatic writing because I knew that it had some sort of magic, some sort of energy, and it was massive. So I was using it to communicate better with Ramses and like understand the energies and things around me. Not to say that's not what it's for, but I learned later that it's actually kind of for something else. And the window was frozen shut. So I was going to open the window because like whenever I do channeling or automatic writing, I get really, really warm, like really, really warm. And I was just dying of heat. And so I heard him say, take that ring off. It's too fragile. And that's the thing, like with relics are fragile. They're ancient pieces, right? It's not like something new, you know, they're old things. So I didn't, and I broke it, which means that it went offline, it was done. So when I kept it broken for a while, and I just saved it because I didn't know what to do with it. Obviously, if I was the keeper of the relic, like it went horribly wrong, and I totally suck at my job. But then later on, like months later, maybe even a year later, I heard Ramses say really, really clearly, put the ring back together. And this was before I had even talked to the Council of Wonders and knew what was going on. So I put the ring back together using like historical methods for the time, all right? And when I showed it to them, they were like, oh my God, this ring went offline. We couldn't find it. We assumed it was done. And here it is. And I said, so like, it's not working though. I was told to put it back together and it's not working. And they said, well, the reason it's not working is because once it's broken, the connection's broken, the magic is broken. It won't work. And I said, well, I put it back together. I was told to put it back together. I did. Is there any way you guys can like boot it up again? And that's not like something they do. So I was told that this was like a big deal. They had to have meetings about it. And they did come back to me and they said, yes, we will reboot it. And so it'll still be fine. And I was like, well, what's it for? I don't even know what it's for. And they said that it was created so that you can have the ability when the time comes to decode languages, to decode like if let's just say we have first contact, okay? And like I don't know all the languages. I know a lot of languages, but like my translations of them are rusty because I don't translate very often. I could put the ring on and I can translate. It'll just automatically download it into my brain to be able to translate it. So it's a translation ring. It's a communication ring. I can use it to communicate with the outside world of the planet. And it's very ancient. And so when I told Ramses this, that the ring broke, he was really angry. And I said, well, can't you just do this with another ring? It's not like it, you know, like I didn't understand how the whole thing works. And he said, I can't, because that ring was forged special with magical properties for a specific purpose for you. It's not like it's just a random ring that they put magic into, and we're going to talk about that in a second. This was something that was thought of and forged in a very specific, for a very specific reason, to be used throughout the times. Like, it belongs to me, it came back to me. So now, let's say they have 200 really important relics, right? Galactic relics. There's like, I don't know if it's 35 right now that will eventually be brought back to Earth. I have one of them. And that's, the time's not yet though, but eventually people will start receiving these. And well, how do you receive a relic? Well, it just finds its way to you. So whether you just happen to see it and you purchase it, or like someone sends you a gift in the mail, like it just comes to you. So with that said, this people know, right? People are watching, they know exactly what's going on. So I was hoping that by purchasing another one that wasn't, that I could keep the two together, and maybe those that were trying to break the first one, the important one, would like think the important one was the normal one. It didn't work, which I should have known, because if you read energy and read magic, it's just not going to work. So what had happened was, I have now fixed this ring 3 times. And I guess the only reason that I can do that is because of my abilities, which I'm not quite I don't understand that to begin with. So apparently from past experience and stuff, I have this ability that I'm able to do this. But for a while, it was trying to be destroyed. Once whomever it was found out that it was here, like, I would have things in cases, and somehow my cat would get it and bring it and like break it, or like I would kneel on it and it should not even be there on the floor. So just really weird things. But now it's fixed and it's got a thing around it. And so in any case, the point is that you just don't know. Like, you could, you know, they look the same, right? And this one, I don't think is probably original either. I don't think this is an original stone. But when you calculate in the fact that there is no time, so if there was a time traveling thing happening, you could take something that was like a prop, right, or a reproduction artifact, take it back in time and have it done that. So it's very complicated. And so, okay, so that is what the relics are. Now, they don't have to be big things like, you know, the staff, right? They can be small things that are going to help with first contact. And so it's really important to take the job seriously. Like, you know, now that I understand what it is, I take it seriously, and I keep it safe and stuff like that. So, okay, let me just take a drink here. All right, so what can you do with relics? What's the purpose of relics? Relics are to give a specific magical help. They're usually for big purposes. It's not small purposes. Like, I'm going to show you a magic artifact that the purpose it was made was because this woman was lonely and she wanted companionship. Like, that's a small personal thing. Relics are made because they're big. They're big things. They're meant to change the world in some way. Okay, so just like Moses' staff, right? Just like the Ark of the Covenant, like those things. They're Tritons. He keeps coming in my head like Tritons. Zeus's Triton. I don't know what that means. Anyway, hey Val. So these things are also reconnect with you with what is yours. So if it's something that you had belonged to you as a magic relic in a past experience, they keep it safe for you until the time comes, and then they somehow get it back to you. These rings that I'm wearing, this ring right here is actually a magic is a magic artifact. I'll explain about this, but this one is a regular artifact. This ring was found in a detectorist. So like when they dig up stuff with like detectors, metal detectors, in the UK. And so it's copper, it's very old. Hang on just one second. All right, so what else do relics do? So relics have immense amount of power. It's not like it's not like magical artifacts that have some power, right? Some magical power. Galactic relics have lots of power. And a lot of times these relics, like this is such a great example where, I actually already put it back in its case, but where you have galactic assistance and magic combined into an earth artifact. Okay, so like usually relics have some sort of like galactic help with them, you know. So let's see. Also, the galactic relics have the most power. They're not toys. I learned that the hard way. They're not just to be worn to like communicate better or like do your paperwork faster. That's not how it works. But the cool thing with relics is that you have a direct connection. So you have a direct connection into wherever it is you need to connect. Okay. And you can, depending on your abilities, you can view it, you can see it, you can, there's a lot more abilities for you to do things with it, but you have to know how to work it. And if you don't, it's very specific. So if you don't know how to work it, nothing is going to happen. You may feel that it's got energy in it, but it's not like whoever has it can use it. Although they can be used, you know, if you know how to use it for good or bad, but you have to know how to use it. So, okay, so the next thing is a magical artifact. Okay, so I have two necklaces here. Sure, I can tell you more about the rings I have on. So my stories are really crazy, but if you guys have followed me, you know this already. So this ring, which you can't really probably see very well. I'll see if I can hold it. I don't know. Let's see if I can hold it in the light. Oh, I love how it like blacks, how it black. Let me see if it goes in the light a bit more. Nope. Okay. I guess it's really hard to see. This is really hard to see. So I'll try and explain about it. So this ring is something that, and this is the way this works. So like, this is not out of everybody's reach. Okay. This is actually a kind of cool story. I did know that I had connections to like my friends on the other side when I was younger, right? I just didn't know. I knew that I had bizarre experiences in astral or in dreams with these people that were like my buddy, right? We were like friends. But I didn't know, I didn't get it. But I did just follow the whim. Like I felt like I should purchase this ring. And the ring I found on Etsy. Okay. And it was like a memento mori ring. A memento mori ring is a ring that commemorates like a loved one's passing away, or it's just like it's to remember a loved one, right, as they pass away. So the ring, I feel so ridiculous saying this. The ring was actually like a memento mori for Michael Jackson, right? And I felt like I should purchase it, so I did. And then it said the ring could be engraved, and I was like, well, who'd want to engrave a ring? Like, that's really dumb. So I woke up the next morning and I was like, holy crap, like, I think I'm going to get the ring engraved. I have no idea what it means. I have no idea why I'm doing this, but I'm getting a Memento Mori ring. So I engraved it in Gaelic that says, our soul's will. And later on, I found out that, like, we actually are really good friends, and we chat about all kinds of stuff, and, like, he hangs out, and then this ring actually has connections to another experience that he's having and that I'm having in the Pleiades as family. So it's very complicated, but I guess from what he told me is that it has energies of specific energies that allow you to not come across so harsh, I guess is the term. So it helps me like blend in being a bit more human. I think it helps me with, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It helps me with my emotions. It helps me with like coming across with what I want to say to people. And the way he described it was just absolutely hilarious. Okay, so this other ring right here is a copper ring, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. Let me just double check. Okay. And as you can see, it's got like, oh, see, right there, you can kind of see it. It's got like a leaf or a snake or something on it. And this is just an artifact. There is no major significance per se of this. This was found in a detectorist. I found it on an auction site. In the UK, you can sell things that you find with detectors as long as it doesn't fall into specific categories and or have like so much like precious metals, right? And they labeled it as like an ancient Roman ring. And while, I mean, it is very old, it's definitely very, very old. I actually cleaned it up. It looked pretty rough before it came to me, but I don't know if it's that old. I just don't know. I haven't had time to like think about it. So anyway, I like wearing ancient rings because, again, it's an artifact. It connects me into that energy when I want to be into that energy, right? So yeah, I kind of, I see where you're coming through. Like, so when I found it, because I have snakes are my thing, right? I type in like ancient snake ring. I mean, snakes, I collect a lot of old snake jewelry and stuff like that too. So it did come up as a snake, but now I'm wondering if it's a leaf, if it's a snake. It doesn't matter, but that's kind of cool that you said it reminded you of Eden. Okay, so this ring is, let me see if I can get it in there. Okay, so this is a scarab, right? It's got in the inside, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is some hieroglyphics in there. Again, this was found at a junkyard. I shouldn't say junkyard. This was found at one of those, like, let's say you go for the fireworks and then people set up, right? And they sell things. And this guy had like a going out of business jewelry sale. And it was a silver scarab ring, and it was still kind of pricey. I thought it was pricey. It was almost 3 figures. But I bought it anyway. And then when I broke the first one, and I was like, can you like do something with this scarab ring? And Ramses was angry about it. And he's like, huh. He's like, it's so true. One man's trash is another person's treasure. So true. He's like, well, you know, that ring has nothing to do with magic. It wasn't created in magic. It has no magic in it whatsoever. It's just a ring. It's like, I know it's just a ring, but could you put some energy into it? Because I obviously broke the one that you sent me because it's like old, you know. And the thing with this ring is, I don't know, like if it was me, I don't know if that ring is old. It's made exactly the way an old ring would be made from ancient Egypt. So I don't know, but I know they also make brand new rings like this. So I have no idea. I just have to go by what I feel, what I get when I automatic write, what I get when I channel. And I have to believe that because it seems true to me. So, and I've discussed this with other people as well, other channelers. I've had other channelers channel the Galactic Council of Wonders for me. So like just to go over things to make sure that I'm not crazy. Right. So anyway, so this does have some energy in it, but it's mostly just, these are the rings that I'm wearing. This is the only one, the black one, that says Our Soul's Will, is a magical artifact that I do wear all the time. I don't take that one off. Okay, so let's talk about magical artifacts. That was actually a good thing that leans into magic artifacts. Okay, so I have 2 necklaces here. Let's see. I have 2 necklaces here. So you can see the blue one. Let's see if I can bring this other one into the sun. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. So which one do you think is the magical artifact and which one do you think is not? The blue one or it's like an orangey one? You're very welcome. I never thought I would get asked about my rings, but that's kind of cool that you guys take interest. I appreciate that. So yeah, so let me know which one is the magical necklace out of the 2, and I'll let you guys know in a second. Try and read the energy of them. Okay? So try and read the energy of them. So you guys are saying blue. The answer is actually this one. The carnelian, I think it's carnelian, is the orangey one. Okay, so this one has a very interesting story. This is an example of what you can do when you get really good at magic. So, yep, I can put the orange one in the light. Let me just move my thing here so I can make sure that. Okay, so that is the orange one. You can kind of see the back of it. Okay, so this one has a really interesting story. And I found another one that was kind of similar to it. They're both from the 1930s. So I did pick it up just because I like to test things out. Like, like, does this one really feel different than that one? Well, it actually does. So let me pour myself another cup of tea. Just one second. Because we're gonna have to talk about magic, right? And like how can one make a magic necklace, right? How does one hone their magic skills enough to make a relic? And you can make a relic. It has to be tested. So I was told, oh my gosh, let me like get some of the sun out of my face. Hopefully that works. Okay, so I was told that oh my gosh. Hopefully that works. All right. That you can make a magical object. And then it has to go to the Council of Wonders, right? And they're going to test it and they're going to grade it on like, they were explaining to me all these different levels that like, how dangerous is it? What was it the intent? What was it supposed to be used for? What number are they going to give it on a scale from, 1 to 10? And then what is the proper precautions for it? Where does it go after the person who made it doesn't, isn't around anymore? What happens to it? So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it once you become that magician to be able to do this stuff. And I learned a really good lesson with this necklace. Okay. So I didn't find this necklace. I had just cleaned, I think this is so funny. I had just cleaned my room. This is years and years ago. Hello, black cat. I had just cleaned my room years and years ago. Everything was clean, dresser was clear. And I woke up the next morning and there was this necklace laying on the dresser. No idea where it came from. Kira. No idea where it came from. And so I just assumed it was a gift. Like I assumed like it was an ancestral gift. And it would be nice if I could actually see you guys because it's getting really dark in here. So I left it alone. I would wear it sometimes, but for the most part, I would. You did? Oh, that's so cool. For the most part, I would just leave it in my jewelry box, and I didn't really think about it too much. But when the Council of Wonders came up, I asked them about it because it always felt different to me. And this is me learning how to work with energy, how to feel energy, right? Like I was doing the best I could. I knew it just felt different than my other necklaces, but I wasn't sure why. So when I showed that to them and they analyzed it, they told me that this is what is considered a magical artifact. It's an object made of magic by a person or a being that is still usable with the correct understanding of use. And I said, okay, well, who made it and what did they make it for? Like, it just seems kind of weird. Like, what do you make a necklace for? Well, the person who made it, her name was Lorna, Lenora. Leonora, Lenora Piper, and you can look her up in Wikipedia. And she was a famous American trance medium in spiritualism. She lived from 1857 to 1950. She made this in 1930s. And she was really cool. She got tested by all kinds of researchers and stuff like that. She lived in the New York, I'm trying to think like what it's called. There's like a New York area where just psychics live, and I can't think of what the place is called, but I've always wanted to go visit there. And I guess I'll just be in the sun. And so what she did with this was she put magic into it, and they told me that the magic is so strong in it that it it has at least a good 1,000 years on it. So let's just try this. So this makes you attractive. Okay, like this is so weird. This makes you attractive to anybody who wears it. It makes people notice you. It makes people think that you're attractive. Like this woman wanted, the place does still exist. Yeah. I don't think it's called the Mystics though. Like it's an actual colony. I don't know if the colony is in the word, but for psychic people to live, and you can go there. So I had a lot of questions about this, right? I mean, like, let's face it. Like, when you're taught magic, I was always taught that, like, you don't use your magic for self-gain, right? Are you going to wear it? Are you going to be pretty? I was always taught you don't wear you don't make stuff for self-gain. And so I had a lot of questions, and I was like, isn't this not right? Like, first of all, how does it end up by me, right? Like, how? And they said, well, we don't know. We only know that if you got it and it appeared to you, then somebody wanted you to have it. And so I was like, okay. But what I don't understand is people aren't supposed to use their magic for gain, right? That's what I was always taught. And the answer to that was, it takes years to collect magic. It takes years to practice magic. If you can get to that point, like, you've earned it. You could do whatever you want with your magic. Are there consequences if you use bad magic? Yes, there's consequences. We can, oh, your left ear won't stop ringing. That's awesome. That means you're getting some downloads. We can talk about like consequences of magic. Ramses and I were talking about this, how kings and queens at some point have all used black magic, and like the effects of it in the afterlife, like we can maybe talk about that sometime. It's very interesting. So you can do whatever you want with the magic. And she chose to put it into a necklace so that when she wears it, she could attract a mate. And I said, well, how did that go for her? And they said, well, it went pretty well. And they said she wasn't hurting anybody. She being lonely and wanting companionship is not like technically hurting anybody. So I find that very interesting. Magic is super fascinating. The fact that once you have it and know how to use it, you can do whatever you want with it. And like, good for her, like she found happiness and she needed a little help to get there, but like, I guess it worked. So I don't wear this a lot. I will wear it in circumstances where I have to go give a lecture or I have to be in the public eye for the business. If it's like a big thing, sometimes I'll wear it. But I'm very like, I don't know. It's not that I don't appreciate it, because I do, but I don't just like whip all this like magic stuff out all the time. So I save them for very special occasions. And so you can put magic into things for various reasons. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's going to be crazy life-changing for the whole planet. You can use it to change your life if you want to. Now, that said, there's white magic and black magic, and obviously, white magic would be the way to go. I would stay away from black magic, but that's just personally my personal opinion. I have another magical artifact for you. Can you borrow it? Oh, yeah, I wish I could like open up a magic store and be like, renting out magic things and stuff. Wouldn't that be crazy? Maybe that's something in the future that would happen. Like, once the world changes and magic comes back, because magic was gone for a long time from the planet and it's just now coming back and it's different. Who is trying someone's trying black magic on you? Well, white magic would trump the black magic anyway. That's horrible. Yeah, actually, okay, on the 30th, my friend Ruth, who deals with this stuff, like she deals with, she gives people readings. She also helps cold case files. She sees dead people, so like they talk to her all the time. She also goes to people's houses who have like demonic issues and she clears them and stuff like that. So she's going to be on the channel on the 30th, I believe, and we're going to do free readings for everybody. So if you're around, I'm going to make it way ahead of time. You can ask her about it and she will have way more information than I can give you on it. Okay, Alicia? Okay, so this is another magical artifact. So I was told. Let's get it over here so you can see it. Okay, again, it's Anubis, right? I don't have a time yet. It's gonna be in the evening because she's got kids and she's got to get everybody fed and stuff like that. So it'll be in the evening time. I'm going to probably make it either today or tomorrow, so it'll be on the channel until that time comes. So you'll have plenty of time to mark your calendars for it. But we're really excited. So okay, so this is a wand. I was told that this is a wand. I purchased it because it had amazing energy, because I knew that it was something. I didn't know what it was, but it's broken. So it's, I asked if it could be repaired because I was interested in I would totally repair it if I could. Apparently I'm okay at repairing magical things. But I was told that, so the foot is broke off. And remember, like if a magical artifact is broken, it ceases to have the magic in it, right? Okay. So his little foot is broken, and then he held a gemstone. I guess I was told he held a gemstone. They told me what it was, but I don't remember if it was like something red or something. And it was used as a magic wand. And so this is another magical artifact. So I'll hold it up so you can see the hand. Actually, I'm showing it to you because I'm looking at, okay, so you can see the arrow in the hand, and then his little face is actually pretty cute, I think. Yeah, I think they told me it was a red gemstone. Now I could be wrong. I wrote it down in all my notes that are everywhere. But I think they said it was red. I don't know if it was a ruby or what. Which is interesting because when you think of like ancient Egyptian stuff, you don't think about red gemstones. You think about like golds and blues and yellows, and red's not. I mean, even though you just don't think about red gemstones. So anyway, I still feel the energy from it, and that's one of the reasons I purchased it. But even though it may have its energy, something like it would be like trying to use a if you've ever seen like movies where like let's say the wand broke, right, like the Harry Potter wand broke or something's wrong with it, and you try to use it, like it just all goes haywire. So I have decided not to. It'll just be in the case until I know what to do with it, or if I get the okay to attempt to fix it, I'll have to see what they want me to do with it. I'm not sure. So but yes, this is another example. So it's interesting when you think that like magic can really be put into anything. Whether it's a ring, this is the magic ring, but whether it's a ring, a wand, a necklace. When I was in the Super Soldier program, and we did our time jumping and our time traveling, sometimes they would give us an artifact to hold. And the reason they did this was because it helped us know when to jump off into what timeline, what dimension, what portal to jump off in. So what we were doing is we were reading the energy of that artifact and allowing that artifact's energy to pull it to the time of the artifact. And that's exactly, oh, I got like really huge shivers. That's exactly what you guys are to do with the artifacts and things that you have, that you collect. Allow that energy to pull you into those timelines so that you can extract what you need to from that specific time. Whether you're extracting healing, whether you're just extracting knowledge, like I use that all the time in like apothecary. When I'm making salves and whatever, I go to those timelines and I extract the knowledge. You can do so many things with artifacts, and they don't have to be magical. Although if you're interested in collecting magic, it was nice. Who's got to go? Val. It was nice seeing you, Val. Thank you for coming. This is so weird. So like I could be downstairs on the porch, which has natural light, or I like no other place has like natural light. Everything in our house is dark. So okay, so what was I saying? So what I want you guys to think about is next time you're at an antique store, next time you're searching the internet, you find something that you are interested in. Think about it. Why are you interested in that? What pull does it have to you? How can it help you see the mirror of who you are, right? How can it help you gain more knowledge of why you're here, what your missions are, and who you've all been? Because everybody's like, well, I don't know my mission. I don't know which, galactic group I'm from. I don't know this. I don't know that. It's all right there. Your body is your compass. Your soul is your compass. The things that you're attracted to will tell you. And we have these really cool abilities worked into these artifacts that if you allow them to, if you ask them to show you, they will show you bits and pieces that you need to know in order to pull what you need and progress. Whether it's magic or whether it's just learning, having a different way to look at things, connecting with your ancestors. There's just so many things you guys can do. Connecting with your higher self. Exactly. So let me just double check and make sure I got this all covered here. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is the etheric relics. And this is something that I have used. I don't know if I completely understand it, but I was going over this with a friend, and he's like, well, don't forget, etheric relics. And so we talked about it. We talked about it a little bit, and I understand where he's coming from, but he has more experience in this than I do. So etheric relics are psychic constructs created with specific functions, which is related to one's imagination or to one's soul memory or cell memory. These are created in other lives with magic and are attracted within your energetic system. So these are things that are not seen, okay? Like if a good example is like Archangel Michael, if he would give you a sword, or if my necklace wasn't 3D, but it was etheric, it was like always on. That is what an etheric relic is. It's not a 3D relic, so you can't really see it, but it's in your energy field and you can use it. So it will be re-given to you when you are ready, or it can be activated once you're ready, or it can be gifted to you once you're ready. So his example that he liked to use was the Sword of El, okay? And he was gifted it, and he uses it when people have sessions to cut strings, cut attachments, to take implants out, he uses it to do all sorts of things. And so with you guys, what we were talking about in the very beginning of, you guys were also given a sword. Let's just double check this. Okay, so you guys were given the sword of discernment. So you have to imagine that you have a sword of discernment that cuts away judgment of self and others. Judgment is the primary tool of separation. When someone acts outside of your perceived vision of reality, you feel justified in putting them in a separate category from yourself. You offer no permission for the behavior or choices. Understand that judgment only occurs when something threatens the security or status of the ego's position. Judgment is by means with which the ego maintains control. So essentially what the sword of discernment is, you can picture it like a real sword, and it's going to help cut through that judgment and help cut through that ego. So when you're working on yourselves at night, like that's most of the time when I work on myself, and you are clearing out crap, like you're just clearing out negative energy, you're clearing out anything that's not of benefit to you. So you can do it at this time. So what I do is I lay in bed and I I connect in, I ground, and my top crown chakra opens, and I connect in to spirit, to the highest energy that I can. And then I picture the love, the light, the good stuff coming in bright light and shooting out all the crap in my body, right? And like I watch the little triangles come out of my feet, and like they're black triangles. And that would be an example of just clearing out all the stuck energy. Well, you can imagine the sword, and you can kind of cut away at things to help you to clear yourself. You just have to imagine you have it. You have to believe you have it. That is an etheric relic. So all of you now have an etheric relic. You just have to believe you have it. And I keep forgetting what it's called. The Sword of Discernment. Yeah. How do you ground? So the way I ground is, if it's a particularly hard day and I'm like freaking out about stuff, I will go outside without any shoes on, and I will just stand on the ground, connect my feet to the ground, and I'll say, Gaia, you know, please help me. Like, can you take all my crap and can you ground me in so that I can chill out just a little bit, get grounded, and become a calmer? And that helps a lot. That's like really, really easy to do. Grounding also happens when you're really focused on something on the 3D. So for me, I'm really grounded into my 3D work. When I'm working in the apothecary, although when I make things, I can be up in those airy-fairy energies because they're actually kind of instructing me how to do it, and I'm using my abilities as a healer, as well as changing molecular structure of things to heal stuff with light language. I'm doing all that, but I'm very grounded into making the business work. You know, I'm working on something, emails come in, we're shipping something, all that stuff. So being in the 3D can be actually very grounding. Another way you can do it is if you're laying in bed, all you have to do is you have to picture your feet coming out in roots, going down into your mattress, down, 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 into the earth, and go way, way down into the earth. You kind of have to picture, you have to zoom out when you picture this. So when you're laying there, you can picture them and feel the energy going down into your mattress. But there comes a point where you have to change your viewpoint to viewing the earth, or viewing half the earth, and watching your roots go down into the earth. Otherwise you're probably not grounding far enough, because let me tell you, things are so crazy now that you have to ground in really, really, really far. So let's see. I feel my grounding is not efficient. I've been told I need to ground more. I'm a Taurus, and I should ground by nature. Yeah, so have you tried that? Have you tried going into nature barefoot and like just being with the trees and being in the woods? I mean, you could do that now. We'll see, like here it's fall, so we're getting ready for winter, but you can still do that. Have you tried that? Every day. Okay. And you still aren't getting grounded enough? Then what I would say is that you need to clear out your root chakra. You probably have some blocks in your root chakra. So I would focus on that. I would focus on finding some meditations or looking up like how to clear out root chakra. That's what I would focus on, and it should help. Like if you guys are stuck in meditations, if you're stuck in groundings, if you're stuck in working with magic, if you're stuck in channeling, if you're stuck in reading energy, chances are your chakras are blocked and your channeling areas are blocked. And so you need to clear those out. And a way you would do that is you would say, you would meditate, try and ground yourself in, but if you can't, that's okay. Just say, hey guys, I'm calling my ancestors, my guides, my team. I really need you guys to help me. Can you please help me clear out my channeling areas? And can I please get like chakra energy recalibration? And the more you talk to your invisible people, I know this sounds ridiculous. The more you talk to your invisible people, the more you will believe that it's happening. And the more you should just naturally see the flow of them hearing you and stuff like that. So So you live in the forest. That's amazing. I lived in a forest when I was younger, and it was so much fun. Past life regression. Well, could you be ungrounded because of a past life problem? Yes, you could be. I think you could be. Where you could find it harder to ground because you're harboring something, you know, fear of grounding or whatever. That could be something too, definitely. But I think if you work on your chakras, if you haven't done that and open up your channeling centers, then you might figure out what the past life thing is that's blocking you from grounding. If you think it's a past life grounding blockage problem, I would definitely start there. And like, remember how I said I had issues with the war, especially when I had to watch it like over and over and over? That was a blockage. So once I figured out what it was and why it was there, just acknowledging it made it go away. I mean, it's not like I still don't care to watch those things, but I'm not involved in it as much as I was anymore. Like, I can allow it to flow. So I'm not personally attached to it in the way that I was, if that makes sense. So I would definitely start there. If there's something that repulses you, artifact that repulses you, something that repulses you from history, start there and see if by just acknowledging it, it'll help. Okay, let me see. Was there anything else I didn't? Oh, I was going to talk about this too. Okay, so history does this cool thing where history repeats all the time, right? The sun, the darkness is really bothering me. Okay, so in the 1920s, Egypt became like really big again. And it was this Egyptian revival. And actually in the 1800s, when hieroglyphics were first being studied to be translated, Egypt was a big thing with like Napoleon, and it always changes history. So like back then in the 1800s, products like new cosmetic products came out and stuff that with like Egyptian flair, with like Turkish flair, with Middle Eastern flair. In the 1920s, you can even see like dress changing, right? Hair changing because of this 1920s Egyptian revival. So it's interesting that they're doing the same thing. Anytime you have a revival of something, which happens all the time, you're trying to bring back those energies, right? So this is a really great example. Let me just make sure you guys can see this. This is some of the things that I collect. So this is actually for a belt, like if I would make a belt out of it. And it's an original piece, like an Art Nouveau piece from the Egyptian revival. And I've never really had it looked at whether or not this piece was probably carved specifically for it versus being like an original piece. But that's exactly what you're doing. So not like if you find something like this, not only can you access those energies, but then you can also use it to access the older energies that it's actually representing. Oh, that's interesting. So yes, there is that. I think that is all I have to share with you guys today. If you guys want to focus in the energy, props would be the first way to go. Then eventually, like, get to a museum, look at museum stuff, eventually get your artifacts if you can find them, work with your artifacts, and then stuff that attracts you. As you learn to read energy, as you learn to read magic, stuff will be called to you from past experiences. And you will be able to choose to bring them back into your life or not. And those are the things that can be magical. As you guys work on magic, which that's a whole nother topic. We could talk about that later, like how to hone your magic. How does magic work? How do you use magic? Where does magic come from? All that stuff. We can talk about that. That's probably another video. But yeah, so I hope this has really helped you guys. And this is like the 35 artifacts, or the 35 relics aren't even on the planet yet. So like there's like one or two on the planet. It's going to be happening. And the more that you guys know about this ahead of time and can kind of prepare yourselves and get in the groove of things and get in the energy of things, the easier it will be. And then you will be able to help people, because what's going to happen is, think about it. If we get like 35 relics, galactic relics dumped, okay, not dumped, but given to people on Earth who know how to use them, think how that is going to change things as things move along. So I know the last time we talked, people were getting kind of nervous and annoyed that the ascension seems to be taking so long, but it's not over, and it's not going to be over for a long time. I mean, I hate to burst you guys' bubble, but that's just the way it is. Like, this is a work in progress. And as we progress, as we learn to cut out the noise, the white noise, as we learn to turn our TVs off and like be in the moment, be in nature, be in now, learn what our energy is saying, and learn what learn about ourselves. Who are we? Why are we here? Things will progress faster. And then you guys can go out and you can help others understand when they're having problems. And this is how this is going to spread. I know that there's a lot of like galactic political stuff going on right now, but I think talking about that would probably just bog this down and make it seem more difficult. But the thing is, what we're supposed to do now is we're supposed to spread love and light, work on ourselves, be good to the planet, have some patience, and do the best we can do, right? Be the best we can be. And that's all we're really asked to do. And like, things are difficult right now, and it's okay to take a break. But if you want to rev yourself back up, find something of interest, check out the artifacts. So many museums are going online right now that there's a lot to look at. And you can read the energy of an artifact through the screen. Let me give you an example really quick, as long as we're still on this, as long as I'm still like randomly talking. So, yep, we are the healers. Okay, so let me give you an example of how you can read artifacts on the screen. One day I was scrolling through Facebook, and this ring popped up on a screen. And the ring was gold, and it was like really bizarre. It was like a chariot, like you could picture an Egyptian chariot, but it was like facing the horses. There was like two horses the wrong way. And people were commenting like, they don't quite understand this ring. Like, why would the front of the chariot be facing the horses? And I pulled that off onto my desktop because the energy from it, from my personal experience, was so strong. All I could do was stare at that ring for like days. And I kept saying, okay, so obviously like there's some connection somewhere to this ring, right? What is it? Why can't I view the video of this ring? Like, there's some connection there. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just pulling me to a specific timeline. I don't know if like I touched that ring at one time. I just don't know, but I know there's something there. And it stayed with me for months and months and months. And finally, one day I was chatting with Ramses and I was like, hey, there's this ring that I pulled on my desktop and I keep staring at it. And I'm really drawn to it and I don't know why, but it's got like these two horses. And he's like, you gave me that ring. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, that's why you were drawn to it. You gave me that ring. And then he proceeded to tell me about how like he was out in the desert and like he thought he was going to die. And then these two horses came. I don't know. Like, I don't remember the whole story, but it was something like that. And so the point of this being is that don't underestimate, holding in your hand versus seeing it on a screen. especially now with COVID, like some of us, we just have to see it on a screen, and it's still perfectly just as powerful to do it that way, versus, you know, like holding it in your hand. So, okay, I think that's it. I'm going to close with a blessing, and oh, and the other thing, see, there's so many things here. The other thing before I go is I wanted to bring your guys' attention to this, because this is something I'm really super interested in. Well, I'm interested in it, but I haven't really had time to focus on it. So let's bring it over here. It's probably reversed for you guys, but it's called the Voynich manuscript. And if you're not familiar with this, look into it. And I would be very curious as to what you guys get. So I'm going to just kind of show you a little bit. So these are actual photographs of the real pages of this manuscript. And no one has been able to decipher this. It is written in a language nobody knows. And I'm a firm believer that it's a galactic language. And I'm pretty sure that whoever wrote it was like here studying plants, or they had plants from their wherever they were from, and they were studying plants here and cures. And so I was really drawn to this. I don't know why. I haven't had time to really do anything with it, but I know that one of us, somebody in this world now with all the new star seeds and stuff coming in. So here's an example of like kind of how the book was put together. We'll know what this is, and we'll know how to read it. And it's probably not going to be me, but I think it's definitely worth looking at to see if it jogs anybody's memory. So I'll put it in I'm going to write it in the chat really quick, what it's called. And they have videos on this. It's like this big mystery. The Voynich manuscript, M-I-C-H. I'm sure it's just written in galactic language, and that's why they haven't had anyone. But it comes from, like, I don't know if it was like the 1200s or the 1400s. And the Vatican had it for a long time before they allowed someone to purchase it. V-O-I-N-I-C-H. V-O-I-N-I-C-H manuscript. Okay, so check that out. And then I hope I explained everything. I hope I explained everything well enough. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'll give a blessing and write your questions down just to make sure that I covered everything, because I know it can be kind of confusing. And we didn't really preface it with like, where does magic come from? Which, you know, we kind of jumped into these things without having a basic understanding of like magic itself, which is kind of necessary. But, you know, you do magic every day. Magic, its simplest form is just you being aware of you, changing your thoughts, and putting it out into the universe and creating things and making things happen. That is magic at its simplest form. Okay. So there's obviously more complicated forms of it, but you guys do magic every day and you just don't know it. Sending your healing energy and your light out to the public, out to the world, that's magic. That's part of magic that you guys contain, that you guys can do to help the world. Okay. So we have lots of videos to do. I still have to do the one on timelines. We'll get there. So anyway, I'm going to close with a blessing. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I wish you all a blessed evening and rest of your week and weekend. Mushtaya sukunta ut ununiasa talabuja giato numa maleako hashiki int umana niala buajata kikia sututo mia niata natiata supukulona nania sutaya labo nayata ki itia tututaya naniato tatiata tatata tatata nasatia kupashniato nuniato palata nasakiato pa ku ushut to payanana liato kahana nayasutoma nania leyo kukuta ki itia pu usutala maana nahala si itiashaka pujaniya nana satata tiata tata tata ku papiasho tatanala hasyata mamamiato do tiato nana nasatiata katiato noma la papiaso tata nikiasho nanayata mahala I asaku papiasho nanayata nala maniasa tatanaka kukupa asha nahala mala. Namaste. So, of course, well, that's good. Like the sun is beautiful. And I was thinking, of course, just when I'm done, the sun goes behind a cloud and sets. But I'm going to just assume that Ra was sending his beautiful rays on us while we were discussing this. So, okay, I think that's about it. And I don't see any more questions. So hopefully we'll be on soon. I will definitely be setting up that live stream with my good friend Ruth. And we will talk to you guys later. So take care. Thank you guys so much. Many blessings and lots of love.